Hey guys, Retro here back with another video. Well, this past week I finished reading the Dan Jurgens run on the Mighty Thor Volume 2. His run lasted 1 through, I believe, 79. And yeah, it was quite the read. It started in a very sort of traditional superhero kind of story and ended in sort of a more deep, uh, sort of pondering of what would happen if, one of these old gods, these old superhero gods, kind of took over things in the world and how that would affect humanity as a whole. So, yeah, it went from really fun classic Thor enemies to kind of an existential crisis. But we'll get into that in maybe some future videos or something. It really was a great run. I'm super glad that I read it, and I look forward to reading it again in the future. But yeah, I thought I'd just take a few minutes here and kind of go through some of my favorite covers from this run. And surprisingly enough, not many of them are Romita Jr. covers. As you know, I'm kind of going through a Romita Jr. phase, but I believe a lot of his interior artwork on this run is a lot better than his covers. So a lot of these are going to be from later in the run, when Thor becomes, Lord of Asgard and all that kind of good stuff. So I thought I'd start with issue number 1, full on Romita Jr. And I highlight this one in particular, mainly not because of, Thor's face or head, which I believe needs some work. But anyway, some good wraparound cover issue. So yeah, issue number 1, I believe of all these sort of Heroes Return sort of covers had wraparound covers. And for the first few issues anyway, the insides also sort of unfolded. And you got this kind of like who's who, where the story is, what happened in the story up to this point to kind of get you up to speed. And later on, these fold out covers just turned into ads for different things, kind of like this, only 2-page ads. So it's kind of interesting in the first few issues to have this kind of reminder, previously on Thor. But yeah, so first off, classic, I'm calling it a classic, first issue of the late 90s Thor run. And then we kind of move ahead a little bit to issue number 21. This is Thanos and Mangog. I'd never really heard of Mangog before this, but he's quickly become kind of a new interest for me. I'm very much interested in kind of catching up on his backstory. I thought he was an interesting character in the run, and in this run, he's working with Thanos to conquer the world, or end life as we know it on Earth and everywhere else. And then this kind of ties into like kind of a 2-shot story. I love it when books kind of cross over, and then I love it even more when the covers cross over. So here we have Thor number 8 and Peter Parker Spider-Man number 2, both by Romita Jr., and their covers sort of tie in together when put right next to each other, and even same fonts, all that kind of stuff. So I really love when covers sort of play off one another, and especially when the stories are tied to one another. So yeah, those are pretty cool. And then we move forward ahead in the run quite a bit. We move up to issue 41, and I apologize, I didn't do enough real research on these to know who did most of these covers. This is Orbic, because it's signed right here, but this is kind of a classic, painterly cover, and I believe I read that this may have been his last sort of cover that he did. So this one is awesome. One thing you'll see in the back half of this run is you'll see a lot of lightning, a lot of these sort of Thor poses where he's channeling his lightning power. So one of my favorite covers from the back end of the run would be this one, issue number 45. This is not the first appearance of Thor in his new costume that he'll wear through the rest of the run, but it is the first sort of cover that that you see, and just his, closely cropped, imposing face with his big winged helmet, which, you think about it, and practicality says like that will never work. Probably limits his eyesight quite a bit. But yeah, I love this like sort of brooding, imposing form of Thor. And at this point in the run, Thor is kind of coming to grips with becoming ruler of Asgard. Odin has been sort of taken out for a little bit. Issue number 50, once again, another sort of traditional classic Thor pose where he's channeling the lightning through Mjolnir. Love that one. So in this run, basically kind of what happens is Thor brings his godly powers to Midgard, starts kind of affecting things on Earth, and as what one would assume, the cult of Thor sort of springs up and starts kind of worshiping him, and so this cover kind of plays into that, and yeah, again, can't say it enough, just more and more lightning. Later in the run, 61, just kind of an awesome, Thor in battle mode, I guess you'd say, and lightning. Thor 63. This one I love for its artistic quality. Yeah, it's just, I don't think I would like this for the interior artwork, but as a cover, I think it works really well. And yeah, more lightning. And then we get into sort of the really late issues of this run, where Thor it shoots forward in time quite a bit. Thor is looking more like Odin every day, and I really love this one just because it's more. It shows him, kind of in the dark stages of his reign. It gets very heavy towards this part. Thor has sort of instituted penalties and things like that amongst the humans of Earth, and yeah, this kind of shows him brooding on the throne. At this point, it's kind of all on his shoulders, and yeah. Issue number 75. Once again, another sort of more painterly style. This is almost like a Sienkiewicz cover, and it may be. And like I said, I didn't do enough research on these, but this one is great. I love this. And as you can see, a lot of riffs on the same idea. Basically, Thor and Mjolnir wrecking with the whole lightning vibe going on. This one we shy away from the more blue, the cool tones, and we go with the more destructive fire in the flames, shall we say. This is issue 77. And then 78. I like this in particular because it just kind of shows New Asgard, which is the name he gave to sort of New York after he sort of took over Midgard. And this one's great. Just kind of a flying pose with New Asgard in the background. I like the colors on this one. It makes Thor kind of pop a little bit more. Issue 79, this was the last Jurgens issue, and it comes to the conclusion of the Gods and Men. Essentially doesn't necessarily retcon Thor back into current day times. Well, yeah, it actually kind of does. But yeah, it's a nice sort of send-off cover to the end of the Jurgens run. Thor's in his Viking ship sailing off into who knows where. Could be death, could be whatever. But yeah, it's a great final sort of cover issue for the Jurgens run. And now we get to my favorite cover of this, and we go back to Romita, and that is issue number 25. This is kind of the concluding issue of Romita on covers and interior artwork, and we get the nice foil goodness on this one, which is always a plus. But it's a super striking pose to me. It's one of Romita's like best covers I think I've seen him do, not only for Thor but for other heroes as well. And yeah, absolutely fantastic in my opinion. So much so that I randomly found on eBay at some point there was kind of an insert or promotional poster or what have you, and I got a big kind of virgin cover or what have you, print of it, interior print. I need to find a frame or something like that where I can get it framed and put it up on the wall. But yeah, issue number 25 is definitely my favorite cover of the run. And lastly, before I get out of here, I did find also a cool variant. This is a variant for issue number 1. This is the Dynamic Forces exclusive cover, limited to 10,000 copies. I won this in an auction from Longbox Love Affair. And yeah, it's just kind of a cool alternate limited edition cover to have for the run. And then before I had actually got that, I went on eBay and found the same, but signed by Dan Jurgens and John Romita. And you can kind of see there their signatures. I wish Jurgens would have signed with not a black marker. But this one is also sealed certificate of authenticity behind the book. It's in a standard bag and board on top of that to help protect it a bit. But yeah, this was a great issue to get. Dan Jurgens and Romita Jr. both signing it. So now I have this to go up on my wall as well. I'm not huge into signatures, but when I love a run and I love the writer and an artist and they're both on the cover, signed on the cover, I figure why not? Let's go ahead and do it. So yeah, guys, that's about it for this video. I just kind of wanted to run through some of my more favorite covers from this run. And like I said, maybe at some point I'll do kind of an in-depth analysis of this run, because like I said, it was a really great run. As you hear my reading glasses fall off. Was a really great run, or is a really great run, and a lot of things happen in this run, and not for the betterment of the character necessarily, but it's an interesting take to see where Thor would go if he were given the Odin power and kind of decided to use that to help man in his best interests, I guess. So anyway, guys, thanks for coming by. Thanks for checking out my favorite covers from this Thor run, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, see ya.